Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Sidebar with Gary Barton. I, of course, am your host, Gary Barton. Thanks for tuning in. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 reasons you might lose your kids in a custody battle. Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Sidebar with Gary Barton. Today, we're going to be talking about those 5 things that might cost you your children if you find yourself in a custody battle. Now, what I'm going to be referring to is basically a situation where you might be going for a custody battle the first time, as well as modifications or enforcements after you've received final orders later on down the road from that original hearing. And so, the most important thing that you need to understand, parents, is that if you start talking bad about the other spouse in front of your children, the judge, no matter who it might be and no matter what county you might be in, is going to be very concerned that you can't control your emotions. And that is ultimately what drives a judge to say, guess what? You are an emotional wreck because of whatever happened between the two of you, that you are now making bad decisions for your children. And the key here is the phrase that's constantly used in family court is what is in the best interest of the children. If you start questioning what is in the best interest of the children as a judge for that parent, it is over. You're going to lose primary custodianship, and you also might be placed on supervised visitations. And so when you start going through a divorce with children, or you start going through a suit affecting parent-child relationship with your spouse or your child's other parent, you need to be very cognizant that the courts take this very seriously. Do not, under any circumstance, start talking bad about the other person in front of your children. Do not make passive-aggressive statements towards the other person in front of your children that will cause them to mentally perceive that other parent in a negative light. And so don't do it. It's the number one reason why people lose their children. Be civil with each other. No matter what, you need to get over whatever has occurred between the two of you and understand that in the court system, there are really 2 facets to a divorce. We have assets, and then we have the children's relationship. And whatever happened between the two of you, as long as it wasn't harm to the children, no matter what, it's not going to affect the child relationship between mom or the child relationship between dad. And so the only real thing that harm is going to affect is really going to be the assets. Again, unless those children were somehow involved in a harmful way by a decision made by the other parent. So let's talk about that. Let's say you're going through a brand new divorce. Let's say that divorce starts off and immediately you get on Tinder, you get on Bumble, you get on these dating apps, and all of a sudden you start dating somebody and you want to bring what we call a paramour around the children. That is a no-no. You possibly will lose your children when you start exposing your children to a paramour after a divorce has just been filed. That is going to be perceived as very ill-advised, and a judge is going to severely question whether or not you have these children's best interests at heart. Again, set your emotions aside. Set your loneliness aside. Set your desire to retaliate against that other person aside until you get this divorce finalized. And the same concept goes for suit affecting parent-child relationship. Do not start bringing other people around, dating partners around your children immediately. Wait until this is done. Keep it in your pants until we absolutely get a final order. After that final order has been solidified and signed off by a judge, now we can talk about whether or not it's going to be potentially possible for you to start bringing around a new dating partner around your children. But that is the number one reason why I see parents lose their children. Because they make bad decisions, and they make decisions with their pants as opposed to what's up here. And so don't be a fool. Make sure you always understand that it's the child's best interest at heart for what a judge is going to truly consider when it comes to dividing up children's custody time between parents. And so the next thing that you need to understand is that withholding the children is also going to play a significant factor when it comes to a judge deciding whether or not you are the best fit as a primary custodian, or perhaps it's the other party. Do not withhold the children because of emotion. Do not do this. Just because you may be scorned in the relationship does not give you the right to therefore put interference between a dad and his children or a mom and their children, okay? The only time that you're going to be allowed to withhold is in emergency situations for which your child's actual health is at risk. And so do not withhold the children unless you have an actual emergency situation for which you then have authority to go forward and potentially withhold the children. Suffice it to say that is actually grounded in facts. And I would take it a step further. I advise my clients, do not ever withhold the children unless you have a signed order from a judge that allows you to retain custody of the children until new orders are put in place. Don't do it. Don't withhold the children. That's the second thing that's going to cost you to lose your children going forward in any sort of custody battle. After you have final orders, it is very emotional when your ex-husband or your ex-wife start dating someone new. I understand that. I need you to set aside your emotion. Do not start acting out. Do not start withholding the children. Do not start bad-mouthing the other person because they started to move on with their relationships. In fact, I would certainly advise my clients, maybe you should take that to heart and move on yourself. Because dwelling on the past, no matter how painful it might be, your inability to let that go could seriously cost you your children in the future. And so just because your ex-husband starts dating someone new after a divorce is finalized does not give you the right to start bad-mouthing your ex-husband, does not give you the right to start withholding, and does not give you the right to say, well, I don't want her around the children. That is a huge issue that is brought up constantly with old relationships and new partners. Do not let that cloud your judgment. Just because you may not agree with your ex-husband's new choice in a partner does not give you the authority to then therefore say, I'm not sending my children over to you. She's not allowed to be around them. She can't pick up. She can't drop off. That's not what the law is, and you need to understand that. The law is, suffice it to say that dad has his custody arrangement in order. He's allowed to offset his duties to any fit adult that he deems permissible to watch his children. And that includes dad's new girlfriend, okay? And so these are things that are highly emotionally driven, but ultimately will wind up negatively affecting you because, again, here's the overall theme. You've let your emotions dictate your responses. You've allowed these situations to interfere and cloud your judgment with what is best for the children. What's best for the children is to still spend time with dad. Don't do that. Don't stop the child custody arrangement because you've let your emotions get the better of you. Number 4, this kind of goes hand in hand with the overall theme. Don't talk bad about them no matter what. Whether or not it's going through a brand new custody divorce or custody arrangement or custody battle, or it's after everything has been solidified and maybe they start dating someone new. Don't talk bad about the other person ever. Encourage your children to spend time with the other parent. That's what this family law court is designed to do. It's designed and encouraging towards family units, whatever that unit might look like, whether or not it is a blended family or whether or not it's the original functioning unit, you still need to encourage time with each other. So please make sure you're not letting your emotions get the better of you. The last thing, if you take it so far that you not only start talking bad about the other person, that you've taken steps both mentally and physically to block a relationship with the other person, that is called alienation. Alienation is a big no-no. Do not ever put yourself in a situation where you're going to start alienating your children from their mom or from their dad. The most common indicator that we oftentimes see with alienation is when all of a sudden my 5-year-old starts calling me by my first name instead of dad. Where did they get that from? They didn't even know what my first name was. The only logical conclusion is my ex-wife is doing it. And she's seriously causing mental imbalance with my children now, and they're therefore trying to alienate me from my children. That usually goes hand in hand with withholding, talking bad about you, and then ultimately trying to do everything they can to separate you long-term from your children. If you feel like you've been alienated from your children, you need to take action immediately. The longer you delay that, the longer it's going to take in order to start regaining a relationship with your children. That's what the 5 things of child custody is going to end up being when it comes to the potential to lose your children. And so to recap, withholding, don't do it. Don't talk bad about the other person. Don't withhold because of emotion. Don't end up having negative emotions towards new dating partners after divorces or child custody have been solidified. And then, of course, do not alienate them in any way. Those children need to have some sort of functioning relationship with both parents. Suffice it to say that both parents want that. That's what they're going to be allowed under the law unless extenuating or emergency situations arise. I'm Gary Barton with the Sidebar. Thanks for tuning in. Click like, click subscribe, follow us for future podcasts. We'll be coming at you more and more with more episodes. Thanks.